Going live.
Live.
And we're live. All right. We made it. We were planning on going live. First off, we usually do Mountain Built Monday on Monday, but it's Sunday evening, and we were going to do our live outside with Honey, the wild Mustang, but it is storming, blowing, and actually snowing today here. So we're in the studio this evening, but it's a little less distracting when we're in the studio, so we can answer questions you guys have and kind of catch up and talk about Honey the wild Mustang a little bit. And we're also going to talk about the online auction where the Mustang sold for over $10,000.
Yeah.
So how's you guys' weekend going? Thank you guys for joining. We hopped on here a little bit early, and we always have fun catching up with you guys. But this week we have a very busy week planned. So we will not be doing Mountain Built Monday tomorrow, but we'll catch back up and get on our normal schedule next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
If we can. So anyways, we're like, let's hop on Sunday. So hope you guys are having a good week. As always, just drop questions for us if you have them, and I'll try and hit them. I miss them all the time. Oh, Larry says they're getting snow tonight over in Wyoming too. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. The wind was whipping. We had snow blowing sideways out there. So we're in the comfort of our own home today. So some quick thank yous while people are hopping on here. From Amazon folks, we have Sharon S. Thank you, Sharon. And it doesn't say on there what it was. I should have been better about keeping these organized. But we have Sally to thank as well, and Kat. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
So let's see. We are scattered today. I usually sit down before these lives and I have like a little game plan and like a fun opening question. But we've been busy running back and forth. We zip down to our awesome new property and hang out with the crew. And then we come back here and work with Honey. And so we've been doing a lot of drive-in, kind of setting things up. We have tack and stock split between properties.
Yeah.
So I'm a little scattered. I didn't have a very fun intro planned or anything like that. So I did see one fun question that already came in, and it's one of my favorites to think about. This is from Peggy Emerson. It says, have you considered breeding Mesa? I know she's young, but she'll be a strong, big girl. And yeah, we were talking about that. Was that yesterday or today? We were talking about breeding Mesa.
I think yesterday, but yeah.
Yeah, she is so chill and big and beautiful and just sweet that we're like, it would be a shame if we're looking for good mules to not breed her. So it's creeping into our mind. The bad thing about breeding her is I'd have to take some time off from riding her when she was, having a foal and taking care of a foal. But she has such a good mind that I would like to breed her. What are your thoughts on breeding Macy?
Yeah. I always am like a little bit worried. You just don't want anything to go wrong with your mare,
Yeah.
It means so much to us. So it's always a little bit like, oh, but I think if you have good vet care and you really pay attention and everything, that it's safe to do. So things can go wrong, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah. We would love to breed Mesa. Well, we would love to just if we could just magically have a mule colt from Mesa, that would be awesome. Because of her build, like how stocky she is and just how chill she is. It's
it'd be perfect is to have a reset mare and just get embryos out of Mesa and then have Jason's eating ice cream.
Okay, prove that.
And then have another mare have Mesa's babies. And then we don't have to breed Mesa and give her time off. And we'd still get a Mesa baby. That'd be the perfect world.
I'm back. So, okay. For those that are normal here, I like to drink decaf coffee during these. But it's so late in the day and we're out of decaf that I'm eating ice cream instead. So, cookie dough ice cream. And I had to clean off the spoon off camera. Otherwise, I get ice cream in my mustache. So that was why I had to dive off. So while Alyssa's answering questions, I'll be eating my cookie dough ice cream today. Oh man, I feel discombobulated today. So let's see. Okay, let's dive in while I'm looking for questions. Let's dive in a little bit to the honey video and the honey training process and some of the questions that have been popping up in comments and stuff like that since we haven't been able to keep up on comments. Do you want to just talk a little bit about your process with honey and how things are going?
As far as
I just thought you were going to talk about the honey video and some feedback we've got and stuff like that.
yeah, I just hadn't really collected my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, honey's definitely making progress. What?
This is our worst live yet. So welcome, you guys. I'm eating ice cream and we're discombobulated and Alyssa hasn't collected her thoughts. So
So yeah, she's definitely making progress. I don't know how many of you that commented on the last video have watched all of her videos, but it wasn't too long ago that if you stood in the middle of the corral and like turned your hand over, she was literally tearing around the corral. So she's definitely made a lot of progress. Her progress is slow. The process is slow with her. She's very touchy, but she's making progress. So it's good to see. On the, we call it the honey scale. You know, it's like it's big jumps on the honey scale. Looking from the outside, it might seem like really small things, but we notice big changes in her happening, and so that's exciting to see. And yeah, she's just gonna take a long time, but it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
So
one thing I really enjoy about hey, Steven's on here from Haste Draft Horses and Mules.
Steven.
Sweet. Oh, he
Surprised
says,
he has time.
yeah, I know. Busy guy. Says, I got a mule to show y'all. I'm going to email you a pic.
Okay.
Steven's always tempting us with flashy mules that are for sale at auction. But one thing I've been really enjoying about honey is in the mornings, a lot of times I'll be helping with chores and running around outside and stuff. And when I don't have time to go exercise at the gym, I'll do some exercise back here on the back porch. And so I'll like do a set of whatever workout I'm doing. And then I'll go grab some grass and take it up to honey. And at first, she wouldn't even take it out of my hand. She would come kind of close and then she would just stop and freeze. And I'd make her just stand there for a little bit. And then I'd set it in her feed bin and then take a couple steps back and she would come eat it. But lately, I take the grass and I zip up there with just a little bit of energy to my walk. And she doesn't even leave. She'll just stand there next to the fence and I can stick my hand through the fence and she'll take it out of my hand and she'll just stand there and chew it and kind of look at me with a soft eye. And then I'll leave and go do some exercise and come back. And
Yeah.
she is improving. She is on a good track. It's just a little bit slower than other Mustangs. So I did see a question pop in here from Potato. Hey, Potato, how's it going? Says, if you were going to breed Macy, is there a specific donkey you have in mind? You can go first.
The one jack we've liked for a long time is a jack named Judah. It's from West Elk Equine. And he's a big, kind of a gray colored jack, but he produces a lot of really flashy babies every year. There's a lot of Appy babies she gets out of him, some dun babies. So, I mean, the mare obviously has a lot to do with the color of the foal, but it does seem like Judah throws color, like helps that mare throw color from what we've seen. We've met quite a few of his babies, and they're big.
Yeah.
They're big and friendly. So, yeah, they seem to have pretty good minds on them, really. So.
Yep, Judah would be my choice for a mule baby, just because of the size mostly. It seems
he's like 15'1", 15'2", I think, somewhere in there. He's pretty tall, pretty big boned, and he's just, I don't know, I think he's just built nice.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like he puts a super giant head on his babies either. I've seen some jacks that, man, there's some mules out there that the jack just throws huge old heads on them, and he seems like he puts a decent head on them.
Mm-hmm. I see a couple more questions. So thank you guys for having questions today, because you can tell we need questions because we don't have a game plan today. So here's one from Roddy's Rule 78. It says, has Jason been able to touch honey? Yes, actually, a couple times, always only by accident though. So like I was just talking about feeding her little handfuls of grass. At first, if she would take a handful of grass and her lip would accidentally just barely skim my finger, she would freak. Like she would snort, turn around, run away. And then she would stand back there and just blink like, oh my gosh, I touched him. But lately, she'll kind of graze my finger with the grass in it and she'll stay there. So so yeah, that's the extent of me touching Honey so far. But again, just little improvements in the right direction. She is a really challenging one. But yeah, that's my only touches. I haven't gone in and like worked with her at all. I'm excited for when that day comes though. So here's another question. Says this is from Sue GSD. Says, so very thrilled to watch your journey on the new property. Question. It says, am I right that you won't have to trailer to ride in the mountains? Thanks and God bless. God bless you as well, Sue. And yeah, you are right. There's public. Well, the property is actually surrounded by public, and there's mountains straight to the kind of northeast. And so we'll be able to ride right off the property, which is really handy, especially with fuel prices the way they are. We'll definitely still do some trailering, but it's pretty nice to have the ability to just take our animals right off the property and up on the hill.
Yeah, there's some private property across the road, and they've built a cool road up into some really neat. It turns back into public, but so we're excited to ride up there, and the road will make it nice for the mules because it's quite the climb to get up there. So it'll be nice to be able to ride on switchbacks. That'll help them out a ton. So we're excited to ride over there. But yeah, we'll still definitely trailer out because there's some spots we really like to ride. That'll have to trailer too. But yeah, it'll be nice. We can just ride right from the property.
Let's see. The other nice thing about being able to ride straight off the property is when we have new animals or green stock, to be able to work with them just like in a controlled environment in the arena or whatever, and then just take off onto some public land straight from there while they're in a good mindset. It's a really cool tool to have. So pretty exciting. Oh, here's one from Coy. Hey, Coy, how's it going? How's your horse doing, actually? I'd love to hear about that. Coy says, have you been able to start any of your improvements on the lease property?
Yeah, a little bit. We went over there and tidied up the horse barn that's there the other day, and the fencing guy finally made it out, so that was exciting. He was out there yesterday and took out one section of fence that the owners wanted moved, and mowed everything. He's got a pretty cool like brush hog deal on the front of his skid steer, and so he can just, there was some sage that we wanted to take out, and so he mowed all that for us so we can get our pen set up and our Mustang corrals, and also mowed where the arena is going to go, which is really exciting. So the excavation guy is probably a couple weeks out, and I'm sure the fencing guy probably won't make it out until next weekend to start putting fencing back up. So we can't use the big pasture yet. That fence has there's one more section that needs to be taken down, and then a new section's got to be put back up. So it'll be a little while before we can turn them out into that field. But
things are clipping along though. It feels like we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. It's been very hectic the last couple of weeks. All good stuff, actually. I was just visiting my aunt and uncle and talking to them just about how busy we are. And we were talking about how nice it is to be busy with like your own business versus like if you are having a busy time at work or you're working a lot of overtime or something like that. Your life gets busy and hectic in a way that's a little more exhausting. In our lives right now, we're fortunate that they're very busy in a way that's very exciting. So it's a privilege to be busy in the way that we are. But still a little bit scattered, being split between two places. But here's a question from Feel Good Faye. It says, are you concerned that moving Honey to the new property will set her back from the trailer ride, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. And she had, I definitely think she had some issues with some ulcers or some sort of upset that did set her back quite a bit. And for a while it was kind of irritating for me to scratch her to her. It was irritating to her, and she's just getting back to where those are feeling really good, and she's kind of like leaning into it again, and so we're kind of back to where we were like the first week of having her, and then stuff started kind of going weird, and so I feel like we're kind of finally back to that and have that problem resolved. So I mean, we'll give her, you know, some extra stuff when we move her, but I am a little worried about that for sure. It's going to be a new environment. There is going to be some stress associated with loading her in the trailer, moving her, you know, turning her out in the new corral in the new environment. So yeah, she probably will regress a little bit.
Yeah, she'll come around. I feel like she's getting the mental tools to cope with things better. Like, for example, like, you know, me coming up to her and feeding her grass and stuff. She's starting to be less just in fear all the time and stress all the time, and more in like the processing mode mentally, it seems like, and it looks like to me from the outside looking in. So I think she'll do well with the move. Someone asked, how's the dogs doing?
They're doing good.
They are a little bit. I feel like they can tell something's up with us going down to the other property and coming back.
We haven't taken them with us down there yet. Now that it's mowed, it'll be a little bit better, but we're just a little bit nervous about rattlesnakes down there and the dogs. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we go down there, we're busy taking care of stuff, and so we haven't felt like we've had the time to like take the dogs down there and really like keep close eye on the dogs, and so we haven't taken them down there yet. And so yeah, we end up going down to the lease, and they stay home, and they're like, "What's going on? Why are you gone all the time?" So,
I know they're amped all the time.
Yeah, and then you go for a hike.
Kevin says hello from Chattaroy, Washington. It says they went up to Sandy and I went up to Addie, Washington yesterday for a rodeo, and those small town rodeos are the best.
Yeah.
And that's funny you said that, Kevin, because we actually just got to watch a little high school rodeo the other day, and they are the best. It's so fun. It's like those, like the little communities come together, and it's just like a really good, enjoyable time, especially when the sun's shining. It was shining when we were at that rodeo. It was like warm out, and the grass is turning green. You could see mountains in the background, and it was just really fun. And also, I really enjoyed just seeing just high schoolers who are working hard at something that's as cool as, like, you know, barrel racing or riding steers or just general horsemanship. It was really fun to watch. It was really neat. And what we were doing, we actually had to take our horses to the rodeo arena. We didn't know there was going to be a rodeo going on, but we went to the arena because we were having Clyde and Taz get chiropractic work done. And that was awesome. I'd never taken a horse to the chiropractor before. And what do you say about Clyde? What was Clyde's verdict?
I felt like Clyde's been off for a while, and I can't really tell. I feel like if I look down his back, one of his shoulders just looks a little uneven to me. And when I'm riding him, I could just feel like something's just not quite balanced. And it ended up being his right shoulder and his left hip were out of alignment. And so he wasn't, I don't know, he just wasn't even while he was walking and stuff. So he adjusted him, and he was like, yeah, everything you're feeling is like dead on. And so it was good to know that, you know, I don't want my mule to be out, but also I'm like, sweet, like that. Hopefully that'll fix those things that I've been feeling with Clyde.
Get him tuned up.
And Taz, we kind of assumed probably had some things somewhere. And every once in a while we'll notice he just has a little slight head bob. He does bob his head when he's anxious, but then when he's not anxious and walking and trotting, we've noticed just like, it's not like he's lame, but there's just like a slight little offness about him. And sure enough, same thing. And he has a hard time picking up the right lead. And also when he's grazing, he could just be kind of like left footed, but he always has his left foot forward and his right foot back while he's grazing and eating. And so I don't know if that caused some imbalance or if he's doing that because of the imbalance or whatever. But anyway, it's kind of funny because we told him some of this stuff, and then he was like, yeah, I can tell he's out here, and adjust him. And Taz's pain tolerance is about that big. He's very sensitive. And so he was pretty ouchy all over the place. And so he gets him adjusted, And so we took him back and turned him out. And it was so funny because Taz, he just picks up that right lead like right away, and he does this big nice circle on his right lead, and he's got all his head stretched out down, and he's just loping along on the right lead. And so it's funny. It's almost like he was like, look what I can do.
It really felt like it. It was so fun to watch. And I was like hurrying to try and get my phone out to get it to show his previous owners and also to show you guys. I didn't get it until he was already down into a trot, but he was feeling good. And it felt really good to just see him out there feeling good.
Also in the back of my mind, I was like, you're supposed to just like chill, buddy. You just got adjusted. Let's just settle down.
Settle down, buddy. He was showing off. He was feeling good. That was great. Cray is here. Hey, Cray says, question marks. You guys are doing so well. Congratulations on your success. I knew when I first saw your videos that you would be. You said then that you would have a Mustang and you'd be on a new property. Thanks, Cray. Yeah, thanks. You've been here from the very beginning, and we've been super blessed, and you've gotten to see that whole process. So, yeah, we feel super fortunate. And thanks for sticking around. I'm surprised you're not tired of us yet. Here's a question from Philippians 4:8. Have you ridden off the property yet? Actually, no. We were just talking today. We've been spending a lot of time with the horses and not riding very much. So we do have an exciting project that we're working on that you guys will be along on the ride soon, but it hasn't involved riding, but it is exciting. So we've been spending a lot of time with horses and not riding much. And we were just talking about how excited we are to do some riding. And especially speaking of Taz, I'm really looking forward to riding Taz more. So in the very near future, we will be doing some more riding. And the snow's melting off in the high country, so we'll be getting into the mountains soon, which I'm very excited about. Here's a question from Rafael Torres. Any tips on looking for deer sheds? Now you're speaking my language. Rafael says, took your advice and convinced a local farmer to allow me to walk his 100 acres looking for him. Oh, that's awesome. That is a great way to get some exercise and some fresh air and have a good day. Yeah. So I assume, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm assuming it's whitetail sheds you're looking for then. And if you could figure out where they're bedding and where they're feeding, and then look in those areas. I mean, I know that sounds kind of general, but bedding area, feeding area, and in between where they're going to be moving in the wintertime. And that's where I'd look the most. So,
yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say bedding areas. So find somewhere that's kind of thick, and you'll probably be able to see deer trails in there where it's nice and thick, maybe depending on what state you're in and stuff, maybe even like semi-tunnels through the thick stuff. And I would look in there. That's where I would probably start. So good question. Hope you find some. Let us know if you do.
Edges are good. Where brush meets wherever their feed is, those zones where they kind of travel back and forth.
Yeah.
So
Robert,
if you could get a dog, that helps.
Yeah. Robert Pooler says, Jason, is that ice cream? Naughty, naughty. Yeah, Robert, I'm back on the sugar. So you could probably tell by looking at me that I'm back on the sugar. I am trying to limit it because I felt really good when I wasn't eating sugar, but I got to treat yourself sometimes. So here's one from Sleepy Frog. What is the story behind the 3 Mustangs we got to choose from today? I don't know what that's referring to.
No.
3 Mustangs you got to choose from today.
No, I don't know what Mustangs we posted today.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe re-ask your question, Sleepy Frog. I'm not sure. Gosh, that's going to bother me. I can't figure out what
my
Sleepy
guess
Frog's
is they're
talking
talking about the Mustangs from Wyoming.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
All right. Michael Root says, do you have plans to look for a Mustang for Jason? If so, where at? Yes, absolutely. I am itching to get a Mustang. I actually am very excited because we had a lady reach out. She may even be watching right now, but we get to go look at some Kiger Mustangs. So that is in the near future. I'm super excited. We'll see if it all works out and stuff like that. But anyway, we get to meet up with a really nice lady that we met through the channel and go look at some Kigers. So I'm just pumped. I've never even seen a Kiger Mustang in real life. And so I'm pumped. Anyway, but yes, definitely Mustangs in my future. Let's see. Good question, Michael. Oh no, Rosemary says no audio, so that's not good. Rosemary, was that you last time that had it muted?
Check if we're muted. Turn your volume up.
Let's
You
see.
can't hear us to tell her that.
Margaret Copeland says, so what is your plan if for some reason you can't get a horse you've adopted to be able to be socialized? Oh, good question. Who would want this animal? That's also something we've talked about. Do you want to dive into that?
So if you end up getting a Mustang that you have a hard time with, up to that 1 year point, you can relinquish them back to the BLM. That's an option. So you're not trapped with that animal. And then after that 1 year period, then you would just have to reach out to some sort of like Mustang sanctuary, wild horse sanctuary, something like that. After the 1 year, I mean, you could go take them to the auction, where we obviously wouldn't do that. But I mean, it's your horse after that.
I think they were talking about us specifically.
Yeah, well, but I'm just answering the question as broadly as I can. But yeah, so you could sell that horse after a year. But for us, we're not going to relinquish Honey. We're not in any hurry to get her out of here. So we'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll have her titled, before we make any decisions. So we'll at least give her a good year, if not longer, to come around. Like we're not gonna get rid of her anytime soon. And then if we really can't, like if she really just doesn't do well in a domestic life, then we have a couple wild horse sanctuaries already that we're in contact with that might take her. So
we're not in contact with them because
of Honey. No, we just know them separately from Honey. So those would be the two we would ask first. We haven't asked them yet because we haven't gone that route yet. So we'll ask them if the time comes.
Larry says, I like ice cream a little too much. I do too, Larry. It's like my favorite food is ice cream. But back to Honey and horses that are hard to train. Alyssa and I were talking a little bit the other day while we were driving back and forth to our new property, about how like it seems like there's the possibility of having a horse that just doesn't want a connection with any humans. Like Honey is towards that end of the spectrum, but it's like if you did end up with a Mustang that just has no interest in having a bond with you, it's almost a disservice to them to force them into that. So it's like most horses, Mustangs, you get them in a round pen and you go in there and they have like a little curiosity or a little bit of a draw, and it's as if they want to connect with you. Honey is very far towards the end of the spectrum that she just doesn't care. Like she would just rather just do her own thing. And the curiosity is starting to come out now, a few months later. But if you had a horse that just never wanted to connect with you, forcing them into being domesticated almost feels like it would be a disservice to them. So in that case, I think if it was mine, if I adopted a Mustang and it was not a pleasant experience for them to work with me, I would probably look for a sanctuary. I would probably call the one I worked at in South Dakota, the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary, and see if they would take them. But for the most part, it seems like the horse gets a lot out of the relationship with the human, and that's from my perspective as a human, obviously. But it really does feel like it when you're working with these untouched Mustangs. They have a natural draw to the human, it feels like. And Honey has the least draw of any horse I've ever seen, but it's starting to come out. So
yeah. And a lot of people, made suggestions on whose videos to watch and stuff like that. And one thing I want to clarify on, I talked about there's not a whole lot of horses out there like Honey, and what I'm specifically talking about is not reactive horses. There's definitely Mustangs out there that are more reactive than Honey. There's Mustangs out there that if I climbed in that little of a round corral, they would be trying to jump the panels out the other side. Like, there's definitely Mustangs that are way more reactive. But I have yet to see another Mustang that is as head shy as Honey. And we mean like actually severely head shy. All Mustangs, when you first get them, could be called head shy. They're very guarded. They're very nervous about you touching their faces. Like if you watch any lion take down a zebra or wolves take down elk or anything like that, they're going to go for the big tendons in the back end. They're going to jump up and bite them on the back of the neck, maybe the front of their chest, or on their muzzle. And so horses know this. And so those are going to be the most sensitive areas on a horse. Their soft underbelly and the other areas I mentioned. And so like any wild horse or a horse that hasn't been handled is going to be sensitive around those areas. They also have a blind spot underneath their chest. Anyway, so there's areas that horses are just naturally more sensitive, including their face. So it's pretty normal. Like Rooster, when we first got him, very sensitive about his face. Did not want me to touch it. And that's normal. And I don't know any Mustangs really that are just like, go ahead and touch my face, it's fine. But most of them, when you get to a certain distance from them or you work with them at a certain point, they're going to have enough curiosity that they're going to initiate a little touch. Or if they really won't, like a lot of people suggested, Nate Eicher and his bucking horse that was a rescue named Sierra, which we've watched all his videos. But, he was able to come up and initiate some touch on her face, and she accepted that, even though she was really scared and really reactive. Honey is not that way. And using actually some of Nate's techniques to try to initiate touch with Honey was just causing her to be more reactive. It wasn't helping her at all. It actually was bringing out, Honey can have a little bit of defensiveness and almost, some people could call it aggression. She's just defending herself. But if you try to initiate touch with her on her face or that area, she wants to get pretty defensive. And so there's a fine line between, trying to work on that boundary of hers without pushing her to that point where she feels like she might need to attack you. She has not tried to do that with me, but I've been very cautious about not pushing her to that point because I've seen little signs where she might be that way. So that all being said, all the Mustangs and horses you guys have sent me, I appreciate it. We've actually watched all those videos and none of them are like Honey as far as head shyness. So again, I have yet to see a horse that is as head shy as Honey. It'd be great if there was one and they were like, this is what we did, but there's just not. I actually had a lady write me a really nice message through Facebook. I actually haven't even responded to her yet, but she was saying her horse does sound similar to Honey. It took her 6.5 months just to get where she could touch her. And she thought the same thing. Like a lot of these Mustang trainers do not show these really, really, really hard horses because one, they're trying to do competitions and you can't do a competition with a horse like this. Like if they get a horse like this, they end up having to relinquish it because they've got a timeline. They can't deal with a horse like this. And two, some of the other Mustang trainers, they want to look good. They want to look professional. And if they have a horse that's this challenging, it doesn't look very good for it to take that long because people just don't understand. Some horses are just that way. And so, looking from the outside in, they might be like, oh, they're not a good trainer. They can't get this done when really that horse just needs a lot of extra time. So anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So we appreciate all the suggestions. But yeah, we've watched a lot of those videos. When I say I've scoured the internet, I mean, I've scoured the internet. So, and what we're doing is working. It's just slow, and I'm sure there's people that would rope Honey and maybe lay her down or hobble her or who knows what. And maybe it would work and she'd get there faster. Also, maybe it would traumatize her to the point where she would never, ever trust people in her whole life. I don't know. At this point, I'm not going to allow someone to rope her and choke her down and go that route. And so I'm not going to take her to anyone that I think might do that. And I'm just going to continue on with what we're doing because right now it is causing progress. So as long as we're progressing, we're going to keep going and keep doing what we're doing. So.
Yeah, it is you put yourself in a vulnerable spot if you're a horse trainer. Like Alyssa is a horse trainer. She doesn't refer to herself as a professional, but we're intentionally sharing this process as we go to help other people learn. Hopefully, even years down the road, people can find Honey's videos and get help with their own horses. But it puts you in a vulnerable spot to share the journey in real time, the way that we're doing it, because we don't know the ending of Honey's story. And we're sharing it anyway as we go because we hope it helps someone down the road, hopefully multiple people, because I think there are tough Mustangs like Honey, just not a lot of them. So, yeah, Alyssa is putting herself in a vulnerable position just to share Honey's story honestly and realistically.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely the ability to, I don't know, make yourself look better than you are, or make things seem like they're flawless through editing, through what you're filming, what you're showing, stuff like that. And when we started our channel, we knew that we wanted to show the whole thing. Like, we just want to journal the whole thing. So we decided we wanted to be authentic and show all that, the good and the bad and all of it. And we've seen other channels that have shown basically just the good, or have put themselves in this light that they know more than they do. But we've seen kind of behind the scenes of that as well. And you see these people and you're like, oh, you really actually don't know what you're doing. But if we didn't know that from behind closed doors, they would seem like a professional. And some of those people actually were suggested to us. And it's kind of, I don't know if funny is the right word, but you're like, oh man, like, I don't know. So yeah, maybe it makes me vulnerable to, people suggesting others and negative comments and all that stuff. But like, that's not what our channel is about. Our channel is not about hiding what's going on in real life. And this is real life. Sometimes you get a horse that's tough and you've got to experiment with what you're doing, and you try one technique and you're like, that didn't work. Okay, we're gonna try this technique. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, this is now working, or whatever. But these horses teach you a lot, and they give you the, I don't know, kind of the, not excuse, but to grow and learn and learn from others. And so yeah, they can really help you out if you let them, to become a better horseman. And a lot of people just choose not to show it though, and keep it kind of behind closed doors. So anyway, I refuse to do that because I haven't found a video of a horse like Honey. And so if anything, maybe it'll help someone else know that they're not alone with their difficult horse. If that's all it does, then that's great.
yeah, if any of you have Instagram, you know how tempting it can be to just post a highlight reel. But yeah, you could tell you could tell by this very live that it is not just a highlight reel. This is our real life. And we hopped on here unprepared and we got off to a rough start, but we're rolling now. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us, even though our channel is pretty raw and very realistic. We do try to keep it positive, and we're fortunate to get to work with these horses for a living now.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to some questions. Let's try and catch back up. Here's one from Melinda Madrigal. Do you think a Mustang mule would be easier to gentle than a horse Mustang? I think personally that it would probably be tougher than a horse Mustang. Just because in general, people have a harder time training mules than horses. They have a very strong, what is that called? Self-preservation instinct. And that's why they're viewed as stubborn. And Mustangs kind of have that same instinct. So a Mustang mule
burros have that same instinct, which this Mustang mule was a wild burro and a wild Mustang mare crossed out in the wild. So that little mule, I mean, that thing is bred for survival.
Yeah.
Not bred to please people. So
yeah.
it's going to be it's going to be tough. But if you have experience with Mustangs and mules and you have a lot of patience and you know that about mules, that if you push them too much, they could shut down. Same with burros. Then I think you'll have success. Whoever, I don't know who purchased that little Mustang mule. I'd love to know. If you guys know, let us know, because it'd be fun to follow along on that little mule's journey. But
a Mustang mule is equine training on hard mode, in my opinion. Here's a question from Lori. I'll just say Lori. This is a question from Lori. Watching you with Honey, do you think a carrot, horseman stick, and string would have more feel than the whip you're using? Good job. So fun to watch you.
The reason I'm using that big long whip is for my safety. So one, Honey doesn't like my body that close to her, especially not with a string. She's very, ropes and strings, man, are terrifying to her. Do I know if she was roped, like when they're rounding them up or whatever? No, I don't know. I don't know. It's very natural for Mustangs and horses that I've been worked with to be fearful of ropes and things. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But that big long whip is really nice because I can get back away from her. I can also stand in the middle of the corral and fling it over her back and hold it on her back, where a shorter horsemanship stick with a string, I would have to like kind of run along with her and that would freak her out. So maybe it would have better feel, but it sure wouldn't put me in a very good position. So I'm going to stick with the longer whip and string for now.
Melinda says, Jason, ice cream is the 5th food group. It is for me. It's essential.
It's Jason's first food group.
Number 1, ice cream. Then pizza.
Yeah. Maybe pizza is ahead of ice cream. I don't know. They're probably tied.
They go hand in hand.
I laugh because Jason has a master's in exercise science.
Not nutrition.
And when I met him, he literally lived off of pizza and ice cream. I'm pretty sure that's all he ate. So.
And squats and bench press.
Yeah, cracks me up.
How do you think I keep this girlish figure?
All right. About girls.
Hey, Perkins gave us Perkins Bay gave us a $1.99 super thanks. Says so happy Honey landed with. And Perkins, as Alyssa's husband, I can say I am very thankful for Honey's sake that she ended up with Alyssa, because she is extremely challenging, and thankfully Alyssa has very good feel and timing, and she is very patient. So Honey is in the best hands possible. I'm going to skip forward. I'm trying a new method on the questions, because usually we get so far behind that people will start re-asking questions that we've already answered. So I'm going to skip forward. If I skipped your question, try and ask it again. I'm going to try and keep up on live time here. So this one's from Deborah Palilo. Says, do you have a delivery date for your new stock trailer? Probably August-ish. And we are pumped for it. I'm super excited. We're
actually picking it up.
Yeah.
So
Texas, going to Texas. I don't think I've ever been to Texas.
I've only been in an airport in Texas. I'm
looking forward to going, though. Stop by and say hi to the world's 2nd greatest cowboy, Dale Brisby. Okay, moving right along. Peanut Gallery says, could she be good enough for a packing horse? I think talking about Honey. Someday, hopefully, she's way better than good enough for a packing horse. Right now, she's not good enough to pack at all or halter even. But we're hoping things will click and she'll turn the corner and just be good for everything, even riding. Yeah. It's a very real possibility that things will click. She'll learn to trust, and then we'll just start working down the checklist. And by we, I mean she will start working down the checklist, and she'll be a good rider.
We get a halter on, like when she can comfortably be haltered, we'll be rolling.
Yep.
Because then we can start working on stuff, and I can help her. You know, if she gets worried about stuff, I can help her to stick with it a little bit. Anyway, we'll be rolling. But
yeah,
with her being so head shy, that's the part that's hard with her, is that's the part we're like stuck on, is that head shyness. So getting neck take off, getting a halter on, all that kind of stuff is like going to be last on the list as far as like, you know, stuff to do generaling a Mustang, because she's just so touchy about it. So that's why we started working on other things in the meantime, just to help her just get confidence with everything. So
while we're talking about honey, I want to show you guys a video. This is going to be weird, but I think you'll probably really enjoy it. It's a video of Alyssa and Honey last night. And since we were supposed to do this video out with Honey, this will be a little Honey fix. If I can get the camera to actually focus on it. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. We're going to be able to get this. Okay, there.
now click your screen so that it goes away.
Awkward silence.
Awkward silence.
But
So
go ahead.
she was actually able to allow me to use 2 hands and start working on that darn dread of hers. I got it out once, but she re-dreaded it. But the nice thing is she's able to eat and put her head down and eat while I'm still holding the dread, which for Honey is such a huge deal. That's a huge deal. So yeah, that's a huge step in the right direction. I have not tried to mess with her neck tag again yet, but my hope is I can just work on that dread a little bit every night while she's munching on her grain and slowly work up to that neck tag and get that neck tag off. So
my favorite thing about that video is the softness in her eyes, and you could see the blinks and stuff like that. You could tell she's starting to feel safe with Alyssa that close to her, which is really exciting and encouraging. So you guys will see that clip actually for real probably in the next Honey update. But I wanted to show you, since we're talking about Honey so much on this video, I wanted to show you, even though it's not the best quality. So okay. Oh, yes. Question that I missed from earlier. What's a Kiger? So you're best at explaining this, not me. I'll just listen.
Well, we could just give them the actual definition of what a Kiger is.
While you're looking it up, they are probably
more concise.
What?
It'll be more concise.
Yeah. They're a Mustang that I am in love with, partially because of where they live in Eastern Oregon. I really like that country, but Alyssa will pull up the actual, like, what a Kiger is.
Ready for this? A Kiger Mustang is a rare, highly prized strain of wild Mustang native to southeastern Oregon, famous for their exceptional intelligence, stamina, and agility. They are distinguished by their distinct dun coloration, primitive zebra leg stripes, and a direct, largely unmixed genetic lineage tracing back to the Spanish horses brought by explorers in the 1600s. So that's kind of their main thing, is that they're supposed to be kind of a very Spanish strain of Mustangs that haven't been like crossbred a ton. So there's a small herd management area that the Kigers come from. They don't get rounded up very often. A lot of people really like the Kigers. So usually when they do plan a roundup, there's a lot of lawsuits and things that go on. But they are getting overpopulated in that area. And I know there's talk of maybe having to do an emergency gather, especially in the summer if it's really dry and they end up running out of water and food. Obviously, we don't want to see those horses starve or die of thirst or get trapped in mud because they're trying to go down and get water. Anyway, some terrible things can happen. So sometimes emergency gathers are needed and they might have to do one. But I think the last roundup, I might be wrong, but I think the last roundup was like 2015.
That sounds right to me. It was a long time ago.
So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they're way over their number of animals in that area that they should be.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool and they're beautiful. All right, next question.
This was a Kiger, right? Wasn't this a Kiger?
No, it's not.
Oh,
but it looks
like
a
Kiger. They're very done. Actually, our Mustang Rooster really kind of looks like a Kiger. He's got that dun factor. He looks Spanish. He looks very similar to a Kiger.
Yep. All right. 2 questions along the same lines just came in. One from Amelia Chalmers says, question. It says, hey, you awesome people. I just got my first 2 horses after 29 years of wanting them. Any advice for a first-time owner? So congratulations, Amelia. Everyone hit the heart button for Amelia. That is awesome. What's some advice for a first-time horse owner?
Find a good mentor if you need one. Find someone that's willing to help you out near you, preferably. But, I mean, it could be online even. So, yeah, find a good mentor you can ask questions to that knows a lot about horses. And yeah, that'd be my main thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
This is something I can actually speak to pretty well because I didn't grow up with horses and I got my first horse after college. So speaking from like my experience, I would say make sure you give yourself grace as you learn, because you have to like take steps forward and do things the wrong way just because you weren't raised around it. So you're going to screw stuff up, and it's going to be harder for the two horses that you got. And that's just the way it is. So do everything with a good heart, treat your horses well. You're going to make mistakes, and just learn from them and keep going. Don't like be paralyzed in fear because I don't know if I'm doing this right, so I'm just not going to do it. Just kind of move forward and give yourself some grace. And yes, definitely find a good mentor, because they can help you through that.
Yeah.
So and then good question, and congrats on your horses, Amelia. I'm pumped for you.
Yes, that's
after
awesome.
29 years.
That's a long time.
You're there. Enjoy it. Go out and snuggle them and love them, and that's super exciting. So and here's the other one that's along the same lines from Just Some Hermit. Says, what's some advice you would give to a first-time rider or first-generation horseman or horsewoman? Haven't started my journey yet, but any and all advice helps me prepare. So this is similar, but to someone who doesn't have a horse yet.
Yeah.
I would say start with a horse that knows what they're doing, even if they're plain color or a little bit past their prime. Start with a horse that is gentle, so you aren't in fear and you can just enjoy your time with it.
Yeah.
So finding the right horse is a big one. How about you?
Yeah, that's probably the main thing. Find a horse that's gentle. It doesn't have to know all these maneuvers and be super fancy. You just want one that's nice and calm and gentle and good to be around. And because if you buy one that has all these fancy buttons, you're probably not going to know how to use them anyway, unless you're like, taking lessons for a while. So you don't need all that stuff. Just find a horse that's nice and calm and gentle and is going to take care of you and have fun. And then as you learn and progress, then you can up it at that point if you want to. But I wouldn't be afraid to buy a little bit older horse. That being said, again, if you could find a mentor that can go with you to look at a horse and make sure, because there's a lot of dishonest people, unfortunately, selling horses, just make sure that it is what they say it is, and that you don't end up falling into, lies, because unfortunately people do take advantage of new horse owners. And so just find someone that can go with you, kind of see through their lies if they're lying to you, help you ride the horse, get a vet check, pre-purchase exam, and then have fun. Yeah.
All right. Here's a question, change of pace here. Any chance that when you move to the new lease property, you can rent out your current property to someone starting out with horses, since land is so expensive? Then you can have extra income. That's something we've definitely thought about, living in my own time zone. The problem is we're striving for some semblance of simplicity in our life, and being a landlord definitely could potentially add complexity and a little bit of stress. And we're hoping to transition into a little lower stress. But it is something we're seriously thinking about. It's a really valid question and a really good recommendation. We're just kind of weighing the pros and cons when that day comes. Being a landlord isn't necessarily something I want to put a lot of energy into, especially as we're growing this mountain built business. It's like the more mental energy we can put into the business, the better. So if you get a good renter, then you're kind of in the chips, because then you have that added income that you're talking about and not a lot of headache. But if you have either like some issues with the house or a bad renter, then it could be kind of stressful.
Yeah. You could, like you said, you could have a really good renter, or you could have a really bad renter. You come back and their horses have eaten all of our buck and rail fence, and now they have goats in the barn that have torn stuff up. I don't know. You know what I mean? So you come back and there's holes in your drywall. Like there's a lot that goes into renting out a house. And if you guys are a landlord, you know all that stuff. But you might get a call in 3 a.m. saying, hey, the toilet's overflowing in our bathroom, and you've got to go either call someone or go fix it yourself. So I don't know if we really want to do that.
Yeah. Here's one from P Cakes. Says, do you think the neck tags are really affecting her? Maybe it was traumatizing when they put it on. Honey is gorgeous. I can see the trust building. Love how she keeps turning to Alyssa.
I mean,
Valid question.
Maybe there was something when they put it on. She's maybe annoyed by that neck tag. She's had that neck tag on now for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. So they put them on as soon as they round them up and get them, processed. So vaccinated, freeze branded, put the neck tag on us. That's their identification number. It's also part of their brand. That's what that brand is, showing their full ID number. So anyway, that's the last 4 digits of hers on her neck tag. And it might be annoying, but I don't think it's bugging her to the point where all of these issues are because of that neck tag by any means. So she's had it on for a long time at this point. Yeah. And, as far as Honey, maybe something happened to her. We don't know, and we'll never know. Maybe nothing happened to her, but we can't really waste any energy, trying to figure out what happened to her in the past, because it doesn't really matter. She is how she is now, and so that's just the horse we have, and we've just got to deal with it from this, this time forward. So we've heard a lot of speculations and comments of what could have happened to her, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. It is what it is. So she is how she is, and we'll just deal with how she is.
Yep. Here's a question from CC. Hey, CC, how's it going? Hopefully things are going good down there in your neck of the woods. Question. Have you thought about starting with a collar instead of a halter for Honey? Might be a good stepping stone, but she looks like she's improving.
Not really. I haven't used a collar on a horse. I might put like a rope around her neck and work with leading her with a rope before the halter, but we'll see. We got to get to where we can touch her on her neck and get her used to things around her neck anyway first. So we're not there yet.
Yeah. Here's one from Gil Robertson. What are your thoughts on Hennies? And then we get asked this every now and then. Good question. What are your thoughts on Hennies? Are they not as desirable as a mule? I do not find much information on them. Thank you and God bless. Yeah, they are not as desirable as mules, and there's not as much information on them. I knew very little about them. I think generally they're smaller. And so for people wanting to ride like us, you would just go to a mule versus a Henny. But yeah, I think that's the main reason they're not as desirable. Mules are really good for like doing work, like plowing, packing, and they're good as riders. Hennies being smaller would be more like just a pet, like having a mini horse or a mini donkey or something like that. There are exceptions. The Henny people, don't come at me.
Yeah, we have heard from people that have, because if you breed like a mammoth jackstock Jenny, right, a female donkey to actually like a decent sized stud, you would get a good sized Henny. But most of the Hennies, it's just not a thing. I don't know if it just in history started or if they were just not as good as mules. I don't really know. Maybe someone knows why Hennies weren't bred as much as mules. For those of you who don't know what a Henny is, by the way. So a mule is a male donkey bred to a female horse. A Henny is a male horse bred to a female donkey. So just flip flop there. So kind of the same cross, but they come out different. Don't know why it works that way. So most of the time it seems like the Hennies we've seen are like miniature. A miniature donkey got bred by a miniature stallion.
And they look ridiculous.
And they're hilarious looking. That's the only Hennies I've been around. But we have gotten messages from people who have Hennies that they do ride, and they will defend them till the ends of the earth. So they must be okay.
Yeah. I talked to some people. I once made a video and I kind of poked fun at Hennies, and I had a lot of people get upset at me. But I did have someone reach out via email, and they sent me a picture of their Henny. I think it was via email. It had to be. Anyway, they sent me a picture of a Henny that they had ridden, and they said it was a really good equine, very similar to a mule. It was big and it was pretty. So there are some good ones out there. And I don't pick on Henny people anymore. All right, catching back up on the questions here. Jumped to the bottom. Rosemary Abbott says, what's a Jenny? Good question, Rosemary.
A Jenny is a female donkey. Yep. So you have a Jack and a Jenny. Those are male mule, female mule, and then Male donkey, female donkey. Let me get you messed up. Jack and Jenny are donkeys. Then you have a John and a Molly, which are mules. So John Mule is a male mule, Molly Mule is a female mule. So those are the difference.
Yeah. Good question though. People get that mixed up a lot, so you're in good company. This one's from Alicia. How popular are drafts for packing and mountain rides? Also, pros and cons of using drafts and draft crosses for those activities. Big fan of Mesa. Me too, Alicia. Thank you.
They're pretty common, at least in Wyoming. It seems like they're really common. And some friends in Montana that use them a lot. So they're just draft crosses, especially drafts they're pretty chill, and they're just real sturdy. They can hold a lot of weight, and so they like using big old solid horses. The downside, sometimes they're not as agile, and that'd probably be the biggest one.
Yeah.
They have huge feet. You got to put huge shoes on them.
They eat a lot.
They eat a lot. That's a big downside. They do eat a lot. They eat a lot. So.
Yeah. Philippians 4:8 had a good question. Going back to Henny's and the horse father, donkey mother.
Yes.
Said, isn't that dangerous with the full size? Yeah, that's something to definitely be mindful of for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've also heard, right, the foal's not going to like grow bigger than what the uterus will allow, and so, but I don't know, because sometimes with cattle, like if you breed a Charolais bull to your heifers, you're gonna have to pull a lot of calves probably, unless it's like a specialized calving use Charolais bull. So there's definitely something to that. I've also heard breeding mares like back to back over and over again sometimes can cause their uterus to actually like expand, and then the foals can get bigger and get stuck that way. I don't know. But yeah, generally speaking, mule foals are smaller than horse foals, it seems like, when they're born. I don't know if that's from the donkey genetics, but maybe.
Here's one from Ellen Tari. Says, miniature mule next on the wish list? Question mark.
That would be awesome. I want to find a rescue. Mini mule, mini donkey, mini horse. We've had some of you send me some mini donkeys, and thank you, but I don't want to buy one for like $2,000. That's like, we'll sell to a good home. I want to find one that like needs some help. So
it's hot in here.
It is getting hot here. You can open that door.
Okay. Let's see. Here's a question from Dawn Scher. Says, when did horse training move from a punitive style of training of yesteryear to a more gentle training approach? It was basically Tom Dorrance and Ray Hunt, which would have been in the
Western world anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really know anything about English, but Tom Dorrance and Ray Hunt, and that would have been what, in like the 70s maybe? Yeah, that it started gaining, like 70s. Ray Hunt started doing like hitting the clinic trail, and he was not well accepted. People kind of hated Ray Hunt because they felt like he was like attacking like the cowboy way of doing things, but he did it anyways, and he pushed on. And then from him, it branched out to people like Buck Brannaman and Martin Black and Pat Pirelli. So yeah, but it started with Tom Dorrance, then Ray Hunt. I would guess 70s, but I could be wrong. Maybe 60s. I don't know.
Like Ray Hunt had some people try to set him up and bring him, because he had clinics where people were allowed to bring him a horse, right, or multiple horses, and he'd work with them. And so he had people that would end up kind of trying to set him up, and they would bring him just like the nastiest horses. And he ended up working with them and getting them going. And anyway, so their plan didn't work. But yeah, he had people that were like trying to get him, picked off and hurt real bad by bringing him these nasty horses.
The heater was cranking, so I turned it off. We overcompensated because it was so cold outside earlier.
It was cold today.
Here's a question from Mark Taylor. Is there a history of challenging experiences like y'all's with honey from this particular location you got it from? Good question, Mark. We talk a lot about the different HMAs and their reputations, and we always kind of come back to, I think it has a lot to do with the individual horse. That being said, there we've heard stories of Southstein's horses that are challenging, but I still think it just kind of comes down to the individual horse and their life experiences that build their personality.
Yeah, I've heard, some people have a really easy time with their Southstein's horse. That being said, since sharing Honey's journey, we have heard from several people that have Southstein's horses that are really difficult and really sensitive, and have heard things about that particular HMA. But like I said, like, it's all individuals. Some of them come along really quick, and people love Southstein's because they have a good experience. I've also heard that from some rooster came from Twin Peaks. I've heard there can be really good horses from there, and then some people have a really hard time with Twin Peaks horses, and they're super sensitive, and they take a really long time to get through too. So it just depends on the horse.
Yeah, good question though. Let's see. Here was a question that I was very excited to talk about. Where to go? Okay, empty pockets. Would you ever get a mammoth donkey and a draft horse to breed? So breeding for mules is my new pet project that I love reading about and researching. I don't know.
Jason has some fun plans in the works, folks. Like,
I
Jason
do. Stay tuned.
has become a crazy horse girl.
When we got married, my role should have been the one that pumps the brakes on all the equine excitement. But then, I love them too. So as this channel grows, it's just an excuse to get more and more and dive in farther and farther. So back to the question. I got distracted because she called me a horse girl. Back to the question. Empty pockets. Yes, I think, no, we don't want to get a mammoth jack donkey. We don't want to have
we probably won't want a jack.
But we would love to have some good mares and breed some really good mule foals. So that's something that we're researching and looking at diving into. It's something we're really interested in and excited about for the future. But we would probably do AI for the breeding purposes. We wouldn't have our own jack, but
yeah.
I'm pumped. Yeah, stay tuned. We have potentially way far out a really cool surprise for you guys.
And not the computer AI, the original AI before AI was artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something we wanna look into.
Oh, so
people are laughing at me now. Thanks, babe.
Yeah. That's true.
She already has all her friends laughing at me in their texts when we're talking about getting Mustangs and stuff like that.
I tell them how much Jason's on Facebook looking at fillies now. Mares and fillies.
She's not wrong. Okay. Moving on.
Eating his ice cream, looking at mares.
Getting all fat and sassy. Here's one from Sharon. Once you're up and running, will you just be rehoming the Mustangs you happen to adopt, or will you be willing to look for requested traits for buyers? That's a good question. That's a really good question.
We haven't decided yet exactly how we're going to do that. It's going to be hard to sell these horses because we just get attached to everything. So first off, it's going to be really hard for us to sell, but we have to because we can't obviously just become horse collectors.
Yep.
So that being said, we will have to sell them. And I do think we'll probably have some sort of application process just to kind of sort through people and make sure that we're getting really good homes, because I don't want to just send them anywhere. And then especially ones like Honey, she could surprise us. But my guess is she's probably going to have some stranger danger even after she is gentled. She's probably going to take a special person, and so her particularly, we'll probably have to look for the right home for her. But yeah, so we'll probably have some sort of application process. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start adding the Mustangs as we adopt them and gentle them to our website as well. And then of course on here, you guys can follow their journeys and see them and their process and everything. So the nice thing is you'll be able to see them from day one when we adopt them through the whole thing. Like there's not going to be any hidden secrets because it's all out here on YouTube. So that'll be kind of nice for people to look back on their journey. But also we'll have them on our website too. And they kind of do status updates on there when they're ready to go to a new home or whatever. So
yeah. Yeah, we've had a few people actually email and ask if we could like help them pick out a Mustang and work with it. And I wanted to give a shout out, but I can't remember the people's names in Arizona that do that.
Isidro and Amber.
Yeah.
Espinosa?
The Espinosas. They do that, and they have a successful business, and they have a YouTube channel, the Espinosas, and that's exactly what they do. They
actually are steering away from that now.
Oh, well, they used to do that.
Yeah.
Wait, what do they do then? They pick them and then sell them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have their course. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because say someone picks a horse. These people wanted us to pick the horse, but you know, you're not always right. Like we picked Honey, and then who would have known she was that head shy? There was really no way to know. So you don't always pick them right. Hopefully, you know, you do your best you can, but they would allow people to pick them out, and then they would train them for that person. And so you're kind of at the mercy of whatever that person has picked. And maybe that person is not a very good rider and they picked a really touchy Mustang. And then you have to be the one to be like, I don't think this is the right horse for you. So that's kind of why they're steering away from that.
That makes sense.
And yeah, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to pick out a Mustang for people. But we'll do our best to pick Mustangs that we feel are going to be just good, calm horses. And then when we feel like they're ready to go to their new homes, then they'll be available.
Yep. We're excited for it. We're still curious how it's going to work out, the rehoming process.
Yeah.
Not just logistically, but just for our for our emotions or whatever you want to call it. It's like it's really hard to watch them go out the driveway. So we'll see, but it's what we want to do, and we really want to make a good, honest run at it. So we're gonna try.
And some of them might just be gentle, like meaning they have all the groundwork basics. You can load them, you can, you know, like in a trailer, all that stuff, maybe saddle them, whatever, but it might not be started like if they're young. And then others, if we get, you know, 3-4-year-olds or older, then those ones we might decide to keep younger ones till they're saddle trained. So they'll probably be at different levels when we do decide to let them go. So anyway, we'll have a variety of different types probably throughout the years. So
yeah. All right, let's try and zip through a few of these. We've been on over an hour. Thank you guys for sticking with us. But let's try and zip through a few of these quick hitters. So Michael Rue, what would you say would be the ideal breeding age for a mare?
Once they're fully grown, because like growing that baby and feeding that baby can really take a hindrance on their body. So we'd probably want to wait until they were around like 5 to breed them. I think that would be better for the mare.
Yep.
To be a little older.
5 plus.
Yeah.
Here's one from Kathleen. Says, what's the status of your idea for living arrangements at the new property? Or are you still thinking about it? We'll be living in the horse trailer. Hopefully with a view out over our herd. That's the plan. We're excited to get moved down there full time. Susan says, oh, hey, is it Monday? Well, joke's on you, Susan, because there was a comment earlier from someone in Australia, and they said it is Monday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're
just on Australian time today.
Yeah. We're a day early. We got a busy week coming up, so we hopped on here a day early. Here's one from 70 going on 40. Great username. Says, would the South Steens horses possibly have had different predatory experiences while in the wild than horses from other HMAs to make them harder to adjust to human interactions?
No.
That's a good question, but for the most part, it would be mountain lions. That would be their predators, and that's pretty common across the West from Nevada, Wyoming, all of them. That's a very valid thought, though. Yeah, the only ones that would be like a greatly different predator situation would be any in grizzly country, and that would be maybe like the Pryor Mountains. They have some grizzlies up in that country.
We have some Mustangs here in Idaho too, and the wolves. We'll take them down.
Let's see. Peggy is bringing up when you called me a bonus husband. Bonus. Okay.
Bonus horse crazy husband.
Yeah, that's a big bonus. Peanut Gallery says, can we pay for the entire process while you do it? Like sponsor our own Mustang. That's how Isidro.
Yeah, they had I think it was a heart horse program is what they call it. And that's what they did to my friend actually did that with them. And so yeah, it's kind of like a set price and they take them through the whole thing. I don't think we'll do that just because of the same thing. Like, you know, I don't know if the horse gets injured, if, you know, it's taking longer. I don't want any pressure from anyone to maybe hustle the process along. I want to, I don't know, I guess we just want to be in control of picking out that horse, the whole process with no timeline from anyone. And then when it's ready, it's ready. And so, yeah, I don't think we'll do that, but
as we start to figure out the specifics, we're being super intentional that the main priority is the horse.
Yeah.
And I mean, and also the human that gives the horse. So it's like any kind of complexity or pressure, anything that causes that, we're going to skip over, even if it means we make less money or we have to foot the bill while they're with us. It's like, we would rather have that and just have it be clean and simple and have the best odds of success for the horse and the owner. So that, I mean, your idea is a very good one. And there's people that are doing it successfully right now, but we're just shooting for simplicity is what we're going to do. Here's one from Rebecca Nelson. Could Mesa end up as a mom broodmare one day? Definitely she could. I'm very torn. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the video.
Yeah.
She'd be a great mule mama, but she'd also be a great saddle horse for me.
When she fractured her coffin bone, that was a talk of ours. We're like, well, regardless if she's sound, we'll keep her and we'll at least have a really nice mule mom. And thank goodness she healed all the way and she's not lame at all. So she's still very, very sound and rideable. But yeah, we were like, well, I guess she'll be a broodmare if she's not sound.
All right, let's see. I'm going to skip down because let's hit some of these last ones here. Speaking of Mesa, Ellen Tari says, what's next for Mesa's training? So ponying in the mountains, getting her used to wearing the pack saddle without weight and having that britchin around her booty and the breast collar and going up and downhill with that on. That'll kind of be the summer for Macy and just exposing her to different environments. And I don't know, that's kind of it. Just carrying on and letting her grow and mature both physically as well as mentally without dumping too much on her. So
she just turned 2 in April. She just turned 2. So she's a big girl, but giraffes tend to grow a little slower, kind of like mules. And so, yeah, we probably won't start her until next summer, which she'll be 3.5. And we'll probably put some rides on her then, but it's not going to be anything strenuous or long rides or mountain rides or anything like that. We'll probably just put some rides on her and then let her keep growing and take it slow.
That brings up a good point. I get to start her at the TS Mules Colt Starting Clinic next summer. And part of the prerequisites for doing that is having them pack a snaffle bit without using it. So like if we're ponying her, she'll be packing a snaffle bit just so she's used to the feeling of having that in her mouth and it's not throwing her off when I get to the Colt Starting Clinic. Yeah. We'll also do fence work to get ready for that clinic. So getting her to come pick me up off the fence, just stand next to me and pet her from up above her on the fence. So those are a couple other things that came to mind. Here's one from Susan. Says, has the equine competition started? Can you say if you got the ones you saw a couple videos ago? We have news coming, but we're not getting to that yet. But this week we will be getting to that.
Yep.
Good question though, Susan. Thanks for following along, by the way. You're on top of it. Christine Hammers says, next rooster video, question mark.
Yeah.
Good question.
I don't know. I went and chilled with him today while he was taking a nap. It was fun just
Oh,
snuggling
man.
with him, and he was like laying flat out, and he was having so much fun.
He's
So
awesome.
it was nap time today
Yeah.
when we were hanging out with him. But yeah, old Roosty.
Yeah.
We haven't been riding a whole lot lately. We've been busy with other things.
Rooster's awesome, man. He's a good one. I'm so thankful for him.
He's awesome.
Okay, let's see. Have you looked at Horse Plus for mini mules? They have some cute ones.
No,
from
I
Kim.
don't know what that is.
Thank you for the tip, Kim. So
Yeah.
that's probably a website, huh? Horse Plus. We'll have to check it out. But don't encourage her. That's the one thing I'll pump the brakes on is minis. Pump the brakes,
Be pretty
babe.
sassy.
I'm not a also you can't ride them, so or pack them really.
You can snuggle them.
Okay. Let's see. Is there let's do one last one. Can horses have vitamin C? I found it helpful for my itching problem. Watching from Arizona. Thanks for watching down there. We enjoyed our time in Arizona this year down in Wickenburg. It's a cool state. I have no idea about vitamin C for horses.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
We give them a vitamin mineral supplement, all of them, and it's supposed to be very balanced, and that's what we stick with.
Oh, that wasn't the last question. Let's respond to this real quick. This is from Nancy. And it says, I appreciated you being kind about my question about ear mites. Someone else might take offense thinking I thought they wouldn't have thought of it themselves. So we appreciate recommendations and thoughts and things like that. And it's a super valid one, Nancy. So thank you for sharing your thought on that. It's possible. It doesn't seem like she has ear mites, though.
There's no signs like externally, no hair loss or gunkiness or anything like that. And she does some weird head shaking stuff when there's a rope on her neck. But she doesn't do weird head shaky stuff like all the time, like out in the corral. She's not. So I don't think so. I mean, it is possible. Maybe I just can't see any signs of it, but I don't think so. And, other people said like maybe dental issues. There was, gosh, I can't remember what the syndrome's called, but it actually was like maybe where they can gain some really like crazy sensitivity to their face, almost like it feels like it's electrocuting them if you touch them. And it's super, super rare. It's like 2% of horses get it. And I don't remember the actual name for it, but I was like, gosh, I hope she doesn't have that. There's no way to test for it. And it sounds like they might be able to do like an ecropsy once they've passed and test for it. And that's about the only way. So hopefully she doesn't have that. I don't think so, because like when I'm scratching her, I can scratch her almost clear up to her pole with my hand. And she enjoys it. She's still a little nervous about it, but she enjoys it. But just ropes. Oh my gosh, she's terrified of ropes.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the halter is basically a rope, so she's got to get over it before I can halter her.
Okay, so someone is calling me out. Grammy 5555 says, "Come on, Jason. I know you saw that post. Tell her I have a mini for her." LOL. I didn't see it. Grammy.
Send it to me, Jan.
Yeah. You have to email it to Alyssa so I could tell her to pass on it. But yeah. We've had a few sent, and I think it would be fun. In all reality, if life was like settled in and we had our forever property and we had space for a mini, I think they're adorable. When we were up at Mustang Matt's up there in Montana, he had a bunch of minis, and they are super cute. Super cute. Any of our energy and time and finances, I want to put into mules, full-size mules, and Mustangs. And
full-size Mustangs?
Full-size Mustangs. When we have a little extra slack, actually, and time and space and things like that, I think it would be fun to have a mini. And I wish we had that extra time and slack right now, because we have nieces and a very young nephew that would love a mini. But as you guys know, like, our life is kind of hectic. So anyway, yeah, we'll leave it on that. We appreciate you guys. Sorry we were a little scattered this week, but we appreciate you guys sticking with us. We really do appreciate you guys watching our videos and being a part of this journey with us. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. We have exciting things coming up. In all seriousness, we have some fun stuff in store. So stay tuned. We've been super blessed lately, and they just keep rolling. and we can't wait to share it with you. So you guys have an awesome week, and thanks again. We do appreciate you.